Guys, my name's Tracy. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I go to church here at Glad Tidings with all of you, and I am here to tell you a little bit about me and the reason why I believe in miracles and what God can do for you. I know none of you know my story, so just real quick, when I was young, I didn't think that I fit in. I thought everybody looked at me like I was the big kid, I was different, I just didn't fit in. And then voices in my head told me that I was right. I didn't fit in. Mom and Dad took me to church every Sunday. I was involved in youth group. I had church friends, people I thought were my friends, and I still started listening to those voices in my head that told me I wasn't worthy and I wasn't good enough. And so at a very young age, I started making some bad choices. I started sneaking out and defying my parents and smoking cigarettes, and then I got a little bit older and I started drinking and just kind of experimenting with things that I thought was gonna make me feel better and make me fit in with people. And I just kept going with stuff like that and get mixed with the wrong people and the wrong friends and making more bad choices. And I had a pretty rough time. And then, I got a little bit older and I was still doing those things, but at the same time, I was still going to church. And I was still that person who was sitting there in church and playing that role of the good kid and the one who's supposed to be in church. And, basically I was pretending. And I didn't get it until later in life. But then I did a lot of bad stuff, made a lot of bad choices. I had kids and a lot of things were happening to me. I was really depressed. I was very withdrawn from things, and I still felt like I was what they say is the black sheep of the family, because I was the only one who smoked, I was the only one who drank, and I was the only one who, I started smoking marijuana, and I did all that kind of stuff. None of my siblings did that, but I did, and I was the one who was making those bad choices. I got married after my two older kids were born, and my husband took his own life, and then my youngest kid was born, and I was really depressed, and it was really hard for me to get through. So I kind of did a downward spiral and was drinking and stuff like that again. And just as time went by, I just buried myself in work and partying and just slipping away more and more from God, even though I knew, because I was taught that there was a right way to live and a wrong way to live, and I just kept making the bad choices. When my kids were probably around 5, my youngest was, I started trying some heavy drugs. And that is where my downfall came. And I made a lot of bad choices during that time. And it was hard drugs and that small voice in my head, which I now know was the devil, telling me, this is what you need, this is what you gotta have, this is what's gonna make you feel better. And it was wrong. And nearly destroyed my life. I lost my kids. I lost my family. I had no connection to anybody anymore. And the devil just kept telling me, this is what you need. This is what you got to have. This is how you're going to feel better. This is how you're going to fit in. But I still kept coming to church. And I knew there was a part of me that knew that this wasn't right. It just ate away at me, because it was like there was a constant battle of good and evil. And on one hand, I had God's voice in my head telling me, you are worthy, you are good enough, and you don't need this. And then I had Satan over here telling me, yeah, you do. You don't deserve love. You don't deserve your family. You don't deserve your kids. You don't deserve to have good in your life. And constantly that side was winning. This is where it gets good. I have a family that believed in the power of prayer so strongly that they didn't give up on me. I have a church family that constantly prayed about me. I would come and visit here at Glad Tidings, and there was one man that I called him my hero, and his name was Herb Brannon. And Herb Brannon was my hero, and he prayed so hard for me, and he told me over and over, anytime that I came to church, Tracy, I pray for you every day. Every morning, I have your name on a Post-it note, and it's on my bathroom mirror, and I pray for you. And every time I came back to church, he was the one who would seek me out and let me know that he was still praying for me. And I knew my parents prayed for me, and I knew that my family prayed for me, and I knew that everybody was praying for me. But I still didn't get it. I still didn't feel worthy. I still didn't feel that I was good enough. And then I had been to a couple of church services, and there was one Bible verse that came around, and it was one of my go-tos. 1 Corinthians 10:13. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. That scripture helped me so much, because it kept reminding me over and over that I had a way out. I had a way out. I just had to choose it. And I had to believe in myself, and I had to believe that God could do anything for me. And he did. Because one morning I woke up, January 31st. No, it wasn't even January 31st. It was January 28th, 2011. I woke up and I was so tired. I was exhausted. I had been in and out of programs. I had tried everything. I was just exhausted. And I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. I told my husband, I said, I can't do this anymore. It's time. It's time to stop. I have to stop. And I called my mom, and she picked me up, and I went to my treatment program and had a long session with my therapist and my parents, and we put together a game plan. And I had to make it work. And every time that I felt weak and I felt like I just couldn't do it, I remembered that scripture. And then I also remembered Isaiah 41:10. God says to fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And with that, I had confidence. I was able to overcome anything, and I knew that I could. I kept through my program. I finished my program. I worked with a great therapist. And I had my parents. And I stayed with my parents while I was trying to get myself clean and get my life right. So that meant I was in church every Sunday. And I couldn't be more grateful. Because without me being involved with church and having a new formed relationship with God, I could not be where I'm at now. I still had some toxic traits, and I stayed in a toxic marriage for a long time because there was still that part of me that didn't think that I deserved good, and I just let it kept going and going and going. And even though I was substance free, I still had that toxicity in my life. And I didn't have the courage to do anything about it. Even though I knew that I had God on my side and I knew that He was there for me and I had an amazing family that would help me whenever I needed it, I still didn't have that courage. And I prayed and prayed and prayed for that strength to get my life right. And then I met my best friend. And through that friendship, I gained courage, strength, confidence, and I believed that I could overcome anything with the power of prayer and God's love, my family's love, my church family's love, and the man who is now my husband. I could not have done any of this without any of those people. I have come so far in the last a little over 11 years, and I am forever grateful for that prayer thing. And that is the only thing that keeps me going. And I don't know where I would be if I didn't have that in my life. So I hope this helps you guys and you guys learn something from it, and never give up, because there's a song out there that says, "Don't you tell me he can't do it." Well, I'm living proof that I know he can.